Coach Tony.
Hey, folks, we're back. You're with Hey, Coach Tony this fine Sunday morning. And we're talking about the fact that Easton, manufacturer of many successful models of metal and alloy bats, just recently announced that they were finally coming out with some protective headgear for pitchers in baseball and softball. And while I thought this was kind of the aha moment in youth sports, there are people who think this is not a great idea. So we're definitely going to want to get your opinions on this, and we've opened the studio lines. The number is 855-HEY-COACH. Now, there was a whole article written about this press conference that Easton held, and I am certainly not going to read the whole article, but I got to tell you, while we're waiting for your calls, there were a couple of quotes from this article that really jumped off the page at me, and I'll share these with you while we're waiting for the phone lines to start lighting up. The first one, and you may remember, I was bashing the Gunnar Sandberg's father, Bjorn, and just when I started to calm down a little bit, this guy opens his mouth and more nonsense comes spewing out of his hole. But this guy, Bjorn Sandberg, this is Gunnar's father, was quoted in this article during the press conference as saying that he recalled the countless, and I use that word, the countless times that parents at baseball games would exhale after a wicked line drive and say, and I quote, "Thank God that didn't hit somebody." And this idiot goes on to say, "At the same time, I buried my head in the sand just like everybody else, but no more. Not after what we went through this year. It doesn't need to happen anymore." All right, here's why that statement pisses me off. This smug Mongo from the West Coast actually watched kids getting buzzed by line drives, realized how dangerous it was becoming, but did he think about protecting his own kid? No. Did he form picket lines in front of Easton's headquarters, demanding they change their standards? No. Did he go in front of Congress and demand that high schools start using wood bats? No. But when his kid gets injured, this guy has the audacity to try and stop the world and point out to all of us the error of our ways. Now, even when he stands out and tries to become, the poster boy for the evils of metal bats, did it once occur to him that perhaps the answer might lie in protecting the pitchers instead of putting a Nerf bat in a kid's hand? No. As always, I had to be the one to come up with the genius idea that someone else is capitalizing on and making millions on. Now, the funny thing here is, well, at least to me, it's not really funny, it's sad, is that not everybody agrees that these protective pitcher's helmets are the way to go. In fact, there's another Mongo by the name of Bob Kittle, who is the baseball coach at Cabrillo College in Aptos, California. Like my Spanish there, Carl? Okay. Wrote in an email to one of the local papers out in the West Coast, and I quote, "I think this is overkill. Pitchers do not need to wear helmets, especially with the new regulations of the bats, which measure exit speed." All right, I'll continue. Kittle says he sympathizes with the injuries that result from the game, but believes there are inherent risks in playing any sport. And in fact, he went on to say, and I quote, "In today's society, people seem to overreact to serious and really infrequent injuries. I've been coaching and or playing baseball for 27 years. He announces proudly that that's over 2,000 games. And I've never seen a pitcher get hit in the head. You dumb, stupid, dopey Mongo. Could I possibly have read that right? Is your argument simply that you've never seen it, so this is a bad idea? I mean, you're being quoted in an article about a kid who almost got killed, but because it never happened in one of your games, this idea of a pitching helmet is a bad idea. Let's say it happens to 1 in every 75 million kids. If throwing a piece of plastic on your head saves a kid's life, are you really trying to tell me that this is a bad idea? You sound just as stupid, if not more stupid, than the kid's father. And I guess you're going to end up just like him, except there's going to be documented evidence of how stupid you really are. You're just going to continue to ignore the problem until it happens to one of your kids, and then you're going to be the guy who hires another bottom-feeding scumbag lawyer to sue Easton or Louisville Slugger or DeMarini or whoever else you want to sue, because you're going to say then that they should have known better and they should have made the bats even deader. You're a coach. Don't be this stupid. Don't tell me that the regulations of the bats is going to solve this problem, because it's just not. Good God. And this is a baseball guy. 27 years, 2,000 games. You're a moron. All right, I'm not going to go on a rant all day because I did get a couple of emails from you guys, and I do want to remind you, don't be afraid of my rants this morning. Give me a call. I want to hear what you think. 855-HEY-COACH. But I'm going to go to an email that I got here from my buddy Jerry in White Plains, who writes in, Jerry, you disappointed me, buddy. He says, "Hey, Coach Tony, isn't this like Philip Morris coming out with a quit smoking kit? It seems a bit unethical that Easton would produce a dangerous product and then follow up with another product that protects you from their own original product. Something here just don't smell right." Jerry, you usually have such good things to say. I got to tell you, and I usually don't just come out and say this, Jerry, you're dead wrong on this one. I mean, really dead wrong. Even using a ridiculous example like a cigarette company like Philip Morris coming out with a quit smoking kit. You know what, guy? It doesn't hold water here, and let me explain to you why. Why would let me ask a question. Kyle, you may want to chime in on this one. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask you to chime in on this one. Why would anybody want to see a quit smoking kit on the market? Think about it, just logically. Why would you want to see a quit smoking kit on the market? You're a young, ambitious guy. Why would you want to see a quit smoking kit on the market?
Well, I would want to see one just because it helps you get off of the dangerous aspects of that product.
Right. There are people who have lost loved ones, lost family members, and watched them suffer and die in painful, horrible ways. In general terms, maybe you just think people should quit smoking because it's bad for their health, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So, okay. If that's your real motivation, and it's a great motivation, by the way, let me ask you this. Does it really matter to you who's making the kits? I mean, if people quit smoking and get healthier, isn't that all that really matters?
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Gotcha. So it's the same exact thing here. What's most important right now is that our young pitchers, let's forget about ball exit speed ratios and reaction times and wood versus metal. What we want here in youth sports is the safety and protection of our young pitchers. And I can speak for myself. Personally, I don't care who makes the protective gear as long as it gets onto the heads of our young boys and girls who are pitching so that tragedies like this are prevented moving forward. Again, 855-HEY-COACH is the studio line. And this one's, like I said, it's just kind of getting on me. It's getting on me. Got another email from our friend Eric in northern Westchester. And he says, "Hey, Coach Tony, if the equipment protects the kids, then I commend Easton for developing it. It's been discussed many times on your show before that injuries are going to occur, whether it's a metal or a wood bat, so I don't see it as the, quote, double dip. The big question in my mind is, will it be accepted and will it be used?" Now, see, finally you got somebody who's got a brain in their head. And so, Eric, thank you for making a great point. And it's a great point not just because you agree with me, but I'm glad you used those exact words because I will echo those. Not only should we be accepting of this, we really should be commending Easton for being the first major brand to embrace the protection of pitchers. If you think Easton is double dipping, then you should have brought a pitcher's helmet to market before them. And if you didn't, then shut up and be glad that somebody cares about protecting these kids more than you do. Besides, you know, there's another thing that no one has mentioned so far, and it's, all right, well, I'll get right into it. Easton has done nothing wrong. Easton, and I keep picking on them because they came out with the mask, but Easton, Louisville Slugger, DeMarini, all these bat companies have done nothing illegal. The product that they make, and by the way, neither has Philip Morris. All right? And by the way, I despise smoking. I think if you smoke cigarettes, you're a special kind of stupid. with all the information we have now that we didn't have back in the 60s. But whether it's Philip Morris or the alcohol companies or the bat companies, they have done nothing wrong. The bat companies have simply, the bats they make are in accordance with the guidelines and the specifications set forth by who else? The geniuses at Little League Baseball and the NCAA and all the other leagues around the country and around the world. You want to get mad at somebody? Get mad at the leagues and the associations and your towns, because they're the ones that are telling Easton and DeMarini and Louisville Slugger that it's okay to make these bats like high-tech trampolines. You know, don't get mad at the guy who's making a buck doing things within the guidelines of the law. It's just as simple as that. You know what? We're gonna go to a quick break here. I do want to get some more your thoughts on this. So if you have some thoughts on this whole idea of the bats and the protective gear, call the studios at 855 Hey Coach. Before we go to break, folks, as you know, the show ends around 10 o'clock, and I know you got things to go do. You got some errands to run. You're going to check out a couple of games on TV. But you know what? At some point today, make sure you go grab a great lunch or dinner at Somers 202 Tavern. There is always something good going on at Somers 202. They're located on Route 202 in Somers, hence the lack of creativity when they named the place. But call Somers 202 today at 914-248-8100. And make your reservation today. You can sit in there, classy dining room, or, you know, to have a great dining experience. Or if you're just in the mood for some wings or some potato skins and you want to watch the game, sit in the bar area and check out the game on one of their big flat screen TVs. Somers 202 is a place that the whole family's going to love. So go see my good buddy Joe Maz. And when you go there, make sure you tell him Coach Tony sent you. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back.